Hi guys, how are you doing? I haven't picked up the camera in a week. It was my birthday a week ago and I actually wanted to make this video right after it, maybe the next day. But I got really sick and I just started feeling better. I'm okay, it's all fine, I actually really like this sorts of videos and I took it very seriously and I thought a lot about what I want to say. I started thinking from the beginning of the month, to be honest, but I only finished the list yesterday. And so I wanted to share with you the 25 things that I learned in 25 years. What I find ironic about it though is that usually it's just the things that are on your mind, usually in this month or within the last week or something like that. So it's just something that is currently occupying you, but I think it's kind of a nice way to track your own progress, and I made the same sort of video a year ago, and I think that it will be just kind of nice in several years to look back and think about what lessons I learned in my 24th year of life. So without further ado, let's get started. If you want to see your plans come true, never plan for other people. This is very important because when you plan your relationships, friendships, when you make other plans that involve other people, especially if you make these plans without consulting these other people, it is very likely that you're going to be disappointed because these plans are never going to come true, because usually people have their own ideas about what they want to do with their life, and just making plans that involve other people is very, very hard. Making plans in general is really, really hard, but just really, when you plan for the future, try to consider yourself first, and then maybe if you're married it's different. I don't know, because I'm not married, but usually you cannot plan for anyone else, even your closest family members, because everyone has their own ideas of what they want to do, and you wouldn't want other people to plan for you, I guess. So it's only fair. High heels will destroy your feet and back and a lot of things in your life. So if you can avoid using high heels, don't use them, because they are just pure evil. I used to wear them all the time and now I never do, and it was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. Whatever you are afraid of will control you. So if you know that you are afraid of something, or if something makes you uncomfortable, just do it as many times as you need to before it becomes mundane and not scary and just boring. Most human wisdom is just knowing when to shut up. And I'm not going to elaborate on this because illustration. When you feel nostalgic, it's not the people or the places that you're missing, but it's you missing yourself in that state of mind that you had in that particular time of your life. So I have been feeling lots and lots of nostalgia for a period of my life that I never would believe I will be nostalgic for. But I realized that it's not me missing certain people or me missing certain places. It's just that I will never be the same person as I was back then, and I will never have the same illusions, the same, I don't know, beliefs. And so I will just forever be a different person and a changing person. But think about it this way: if you put yourself as you are right now in the same position with the same people and in the same place, nothing will be the same. You cannot enter a river twice. It will not be the same river. So just keep that in mind when you feel nostalgic and you want to take yourself back to a time in your life. Just don't. Traveling and education are the best investments of money and time that you can ever make. I realized it quite early because luckily my parents have the same values, but now I really invest a lot in traveling because I kind of have a feeling that I'm going to settle down really soon. So I just want to see as much of the world as I can and learn as much as I can before I need to pass that to other generations, So you can never outsmart yourself and you can never outgrow yourself, and you never learn as much as you do when you travel. And also just learning new things, it doesn't matter if you really need that. You never know what you're gonna need in your life, so you might as well learn something, and then, I don't know, 20 years later you might be grateful for that one day you took that course that you were really interested in. So don't hesitate to learn and find out things and travel and be more open-minded. Habits are extremely powerful. If you form a habit, you're halfway there where you want to be, really. Being able to easily form connections and become friends with people doesn't make you an extrovert. I learned it the hard way because I always thought I was an extrovert because I was just kind of people oriented, and I make friends really easily, and I can talk to people for long times without getting short of topics to discuss. But I really get tired when I talk to people, and I need a lot of time on my own to recharge from that. So I found out that I'm an introvert, just a more kind of socially skilled maybe. So if you are good with people, doesn't necessarily mean that you are an extrovert. If you really love someone, express it in the way that they will understand and not in the way that you think that is right. And it's not even about this 5 love languages that is going around for a long time already. It's more about people have different values, and some people would prefer for you to just let them be and not interfere with their stuff, and some people will prefer for you to be invested in their life and be very present in their life and all that. So you just need to know what the person that you love sees as care and love and how they want to be loved. You can discuss that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if you perceive something as being good for someone that they agree with you, because if you're with someone, you can do something that you will perceive as nice and caring and whatever, and it can be annoying for them because they will see it as an intervention in their personal space or something like that. So just make sure you understand what the person that you love wants from the person that loves them. There is never a right time to get married or have children, so you might as well do it anytime. There are so many stories about people who got married young and then got divorced. There are also a lot of love stories that started in high school and lasted for 80 years. There are people who have children at 17, 18, 19 and become wonderful parents. There are people who have children at 30 and their children grow up to be underloved and so on. So there is never a right time to do this kind of stuff. You just do it and then figure it out as you go, I guess. The way other people treat you is a direct reflection of your self-image. People will not treat you as you deserve to be treated, but they will treat you as you think you deserve to be treated. So it's very important to figure out how you want to be treated by other people and start treating yourself the same way, because this is what you're gonna get from others. In the end, you will only remember the small things, and it will be the small things that matter the most. So don't underestimate them. Go and do something small but lovely for a person that you care about. Say some nice things to the people that surround you, and just, it's the little things really that matter, because this is what constitutes life. And you will not have a lot of great experiences. Maybe you will, but most of us won't. And it just, yeah, what matters is the small things in the end. So don't underestimate them. It is really worth reading as many books as you can find, and also make sure that you read really different ones. So don't just stop at one genre of literature that you usually read. Try to discover new things and stay open-minded, because you will learn a lot. And there is a saying that I really like, that a person who doesn't read only lives one life, and a person who reads books lives 1,000 lives. And it's actually true. Planning is key for productivity, and I think it's really important, but being hectic and chaotic is good for your mental stability. So when you plan, it's good to have a very solid plan, but it's also good to leave a space for some spontaneity, because this is how we stay sane. We cannot live like robots and just follow a plan. So always keep a little spontaneity in your life, because it's very, very important. Give and get as many hugs as you can. Hugs are really important, and I think you need to be hugged at least 4 or 6 times a day in order to stay mentally stable. I think in our day and time, even one hug goes a long way. And just hug your friends, hug your family, hug people that you love, because it's very important for your mental health. If you have something nice to say to someone, just don't hesitate and say it, because it doesn't really take much from you, but it will most likely make their day. And yeah, you will also feel good for making somebody feel better about themselves. Lying and making excuses makes you weak. I think that all of it stems from low self-esteem, when we think that we need to be perfect in order to be loved and worthy. When you make excuses for your behavior, it just weakens you, in my opinion. Also, telling lies also weakens you. So just own up to your mistakes and don't try to find somebody to blame, and just accept that you are not perfect, but it doesn't mean that you're not worthy. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy. We don't really need as much stuff as most of us have. I realized that when I had to move away and pack my life in just 2 suitcases in less than 2 weeks, and I had piles and piles of clothes and stuff that I gave just away to charity, because I couldn't imagine bringing it on with me. And since then, I kind of adopted this sort of a gypsy lifestyle, when I ask myself 5 or 10 times before buying something, do I really need this? And if I have to pack my life tomorrow in a suitcase, will I bring this with me? And it really, really helps to decrease your consumption of things, because you realize how little you actually need in your everyday life and how much stuff we actually have. So don't collect stuff. And also, it really helps to recycle and donate and buy secondhand and all that, because I just feel that it helps the environment and the earth, and some things that you might not need anymore, other people might need. And the same thing, sometimes we just get tired of stuff. So swap clothes with your friends, and swap, I don't know, other things with your friends or people that you don't know. There are so many websites now for it. There is no direct correlation between money and happiness, as long as you're out of poverty. So as long as you have your basic needs met, like you have a place to stay and some food to eat, you don't really become happier with more money that you make or more stuff that you own. And take it from a person who have lived in very, very, very poor economy and in quite a nice and rich economy. The thing that matters is your relationships with other people and the people that surround you. And it doesn't really matter if you live in a penthouse or in a really small apartment somewhere in the suburb. It depends who you live there with and how your relationship is with people and the world that surrounds you. This kind of makes this entire list irrelevant, but if you can state something as a clear fact or some sort of a universal truth, most likely you're only looking on one side of the story. Usually situations are way more complicated than just one judgment or one statement. So if you can state something like, this is bad, this is wrong, this is that, it's usually just because of ignorance, because you cannot open your mind enough to look at the different side or a different perspective on the same situation. So try not to make this sort of snap judgments and always look on the flip side. You will be tempted to try and change the people that you love. Please don't do that. People don't like to be changed, especially when it's forced. And also, it's not your responsibility and not your job to form and change and manipulate people. So just let people be themselves. And if you cannot accept them, just let them go. Double and triple check your facts. Don't believe something just because you heard it somewhere. Our brains are really tricky. They will believe something that was repeated to them enough times. So when you hear something for the second time, it already kind of seems more trustworthy than the first time that you hear it, and it increases every time you hear something. So if you hear something often enough, it doesn't make it true. So always double and triple check your sources and your facts, because there are a lot of fake news and fake facts running around the internet and the television especially. So I think it's very important to stand back and see if this agrees with your inner critic and if you can really trust the source where you got this fact. Everyone is nice when things go their way. You really learn about a person when something doesn't correspond to their plan. When something bad or unpleasant happens to you, try not to think about it in the way that you're being punished for something that you did before, but try to see it as a lesson for the future. So I used to have this idea of when something bad happened to me, I always would think that I probably did something wrong and I'm being punished for that. But in fact, when you ask yourself not why me, or why does it happen to me, or why am I so unlucky, but you ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? Why is this situation here, and what is it here to teach me? You can get so much more out of life than if you will just sit there and feel sorry for yourself, you know. You don't have to be perfect in order to be worthy of the things that you want. And this hits really close to home because I used to have such low self-esteem, and I always thought that if I won't be perfect and I won't be the first one in everything, I will not be worthy of anyone's attention, of anyone's love, or of any of the good things that I wanted. And this is such a destructive mindset, because as soon as I fixed my self-esteem, it just became so clear to me that no one is perfect, and people still love other people who are not perfect, and no one is perfect, and this is what makes us unique and lovable. And actually, it doesn't matter where you are, or where you started, or where you are at the moment, or how fast you're going. It just matters that you have a positive dynamics. It matters that you are trying to improve yourself. It matters that you are not satisfied with just what you have, and you are always looking for improving yourself mentally and physically and emotionally and spiritually. And I think that we don't need to just sit back and be satisfied with whatever we have. I think that a healthy thirst for something more and bigger and better is always good, but keep in mind that it is a process, and you are exactly where you need to be, and so you don't need to be perfect in order to get the good things that you want and that you deserve. And everyone deserves good things, because I think that in the core we are all good people. Sometimes we are just lost. So I hope that you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun for me making this, and also thinking about it for almost a month. I hope that you're doing really, really well, and I hope to see you soon, and be nice humans. Love you. Bye.